In this section, we are going to talk about applications with percent. So first off, percent notation, and percent means n out of 100 or n over 100. In other words, to convert from percent to decimal, we move the decimal point 2 spaces to the left and drop the percent symbol. For example, in order to convert 34% to decimal notation, remember percent is over 100, so we can write this as 34 divided by 100. If you type this in your calculator, you will get 0.34 as the answer. Now we could have skipped the middle step and simply moved the decimal point 2 spaces to the left, which would give us the same result, which is 0.34. Let's take 7.9%. Let's skip the middle step this time. We have 7.9. The decimal will get moved 2 spaces to the left when we go from percent to decimal notation and end up right there. In the blank spot, we would fill this in with a 0. So 7.9% in decimal form would be 0.079. Going the other way, to convert from a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal point 2 spaces to the right and add the percent symbol. For example, to convert 0.23 to percent notation, we would move the decimal point 2 spaces to the right and add the percent symbol, which will be 23%. Sorry, that's a weird looking percent symbol. To convert 2.9 to a percent, we would take the decimal point, move it 2 spaces to the right, so the decimal point would end up there, and we would add a 0 in the blank spot. So this would be 290%. To convert 3 over 8 to percent, we first would have to convert 3 over 8 to a decimal, which in decimal form is 0.375. Then we would take the decimal point and move it 2 spaces to the right, which would give us 37.5%. Now here are some keywords in percent translations. The word of translates to multiplication. The word what translates to a variable. And the word is or was translates to equal sign. For example, what is 14% of 73? Now let's take each individual word and translate it to something into a mathematical symbol. So the word what will translate to x, or you could use any variable. The word is translates to equal to. 14% in decimal form is 0.14. The word of is multiplication, and 73. So what is x equals 14%, 0.14 times 73? Now on a calculator, if we multiply 0.14 times 73, our answer is going to be x equals to 10.22. Let's look at another example. 9 is 12% of what? So 9 is 9. The word is translates to equal to in the mathematical symbol. 12%, we have to convert the percent to a decimal. This will give you 0.12. Of is multiplication, and what is x? So 9 equals 0.12 times x. Now, if you want to solve for x, the x is being multiplied by 0.12, so the inverse would be to divide by 0.12. In a calculator, you would take 9 divided by 0.12, and the answer is 75. So we would say that x equals to 75. In other words, 9 is 12% of 75. And we can verify this. If we take 12% or 0.12 times 75 to calculate 12% of 75, we would get 9. What percent of 60 is 27? Now this time, notice we're looking for a percent. So what percent, this means we're looking for a percent of, this is multiplication, 60 is, that's equal to, and 27. Now we're solving for x. Since the x is being multiplied by 60, we would divide both sides by 60. Let's take 27 divided by 60, and our answer is going to be 0.45. Now this is in decimal form, but we're looking for a percent. So to convert from decimal to a percent, we would move the decimal point 2 spaces to the right and add the percent sign. Therefore, our answer would be 45%. What percent of 50 is 225? Again, what percent translates to x percent? The word of, that's multiplication. 50, the word is means equals to, and we got 225. X percent times 50 equals to 225. To isolate x, we would divide both sides by 50. So we would get x percent equals to 225 divided by 50, which is 4.5. Now this is in decimal form, but we again are looking for a percent. So if you move the decimal point 2 spaces to the right and fill in the 0, this would give us 450%. What is 124% of 90? Let's go one by one. What translates to a variable? Is translates to equal to. 124%, if you take the decimal and convert, or the decimal point, move it 2 spaces to the left, this would give us 1.24 in decimal form. So 124% in decimal form is 1.24. The word of means multiplication, and we have 90. So x equals to 1.24 times 90. If you multiply 1.24 times 90 in your calculator, you would get x equals to 111.6.